Creating content for social media can be extremely time-consuming sometimes. Especially musicians, they have several channels that they need to be on top of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and all of these channels needs content on a weekly basis. How do we do it all? How will you make this work when you want to spend most of your time in the studio making music? But what if I told you there's a simpler way of creating content for social media? Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Smartbakken, and in this week's video, I will show you how musicians can create more content for social media. You want to stick around for this one. This is really going to help you optimize your time and create more quality content for social media. Before I get started, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more music marketing related videos, just like this one. Content marketing is the aim of the game for any industry these days. And as more and more musicians turn to independent representation and a more do-it-yourself approach, one of the most important things to be on top of as a musician is creating content for social media. Today, I will give you a solution to all those moments where you say to yourself, what do I post today on social media? The best content creators out there are the ones that post often and consistently. This could be anything from 2 to 3 times per week on YouTube or 2 to 3 times per day on Instagram. If you post less than this, you will struggle to gain organic visibility, which is super important, especially with musicians with no ad spend, where they can't pay for the visibility. So every week, I create a large piece of content that will act as my main feeding source for all the other content that I do for the rest of the week. So let's call this a pillar piece of content. This could be a video, a blog, an interview, a Q&A session, because what you have then is a lot of information that can be chopped up into smaller pieces. And this is called micro content. The micro content can be, for example, a tweet from the large piece of content. It could be a carousel that you make that summarizes what you talk about in the large piece of content. Or it could be as simple as a video clip from the large piece of content that will just share a snippet of it and then tell people to watch the full one on YouTube, perhaps. This method allows me to focus on one area per week and break it down into bite-sized chunks that can be distributed across social media. So the micro-sized content should always give some value when it stands by itself, but it should also refer back to the original content piece, the longer content piece. If they like what they saw in the shorter clip, there's a higher chance that they'll go over to the longer clip as well. And sometimes a shorter clip on Instagram can generate far more views than a longer clip on YouTube, and you're just basically using the same type of content. So let's explore how musicians can use this strategy. So this is a strategy called repurposing content. And I'm not saying sharing the same post across channels. That's not repurposing content. Repurposing content is a content strategy that will dramatically increase the frequency of your content. By using your pillar piece of content and breaking it down and chopping it up, you're creating a content bank of content that you can distribute in the next coming weeks. So to create this pillar piece of content, it will be some trial and error for you as a musician. You need to test this out. You need to see, for example, how your audience react to them, but also how much you're enjoying creating them. Remember, these are long pieces of content with a lot of information that you have to plan in order to make this work. And more importantly, you need to enjoy doing it. Because if you don't enjoy making these content pieces, you're gonna get bored very easily and you're gonna give up. So let me show you an example of how musicians can do this. And for this, I'm gonna use Garrix as an example. This is how I would repurpose Martin Garrix's content every week. Martin, if you're listening, call me. Let's talk. So the pillar piece of content that I would start with would be the vlog that he's already doing on his YouTube. This is showing behind the scenes, traveling, friends, creating music, touring, fans, funny moments. What I would then do is chop this up into micro contents. So basically, once you recorded and edited the longer piece of content, you need to review it and chop it up into smaller pieces. There's so much content that's in the video already that you can reuse and repurpose. Look for shorter moments, tips, funny clips, or quotes, and turn these into smaller videos, image quotes, and carousels. These micro content pieces will then be distributed across all the social media channels like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Got it? If not, let me show you another example of how I do repurposing and how I use it every week. So my pillar piece of content is a blog post. I type up my thoughts in a written format. What I then do when I've structured my thoughts and my ideas into a blog post, I then essentially have a script for YouTube. This video here was last week's blog post for me. Some of my audience like to read. Some of my audience like to view me on YouTube, while some of my audience like to hear me on podcast. So my next step then, after recording the long video for YouTube, is to take out the audio and use this for my podcast. Now that I've distributed the long content piece in different formats, both written, audio, and video, it's time to chop it up into smaller pieces that I can distribute on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. For example, if I'm doing 5 tips about something in a video, each tip becomes its own video for the social media platforms. I also create some carousels if I maybe covered some tips or tutorials. And then I create some tweet quotes if I'd said something funny or smart. Always, of course. I mean, smart's my middle name. So this is how a single piece of content will feed your social medias for the next upcoming weeks. This is how a single piece of content will continuously feed your content bank. This is how you will never run out of things to post about. This is how to post several times per day on Instagram, which is a necessity to be seen these days. If someone is following you or opting in to your channels at the moment, they want content from you. They want to get to know you. They want to receive updates from you. If you're not giving them this on a consistently basis, you're letting your followers down, and your followers will become inactive. If you're serious about growing your music and your brand, you need to feed your social medias with content. So this might sound like a lot, but if you master your pillar piece of content every week, the rest will flow a little easier with a little practice and, of course, patience. So there you have it. This is how musicians can create more content for social media. Now start creating. If you like what you saw here today, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and you'll get more music marketing related videos every week.